What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillispie here for BamaInsider. This is the post-game show brought to you by Westgate Luxury Condominiums. That's where we are right now. We're literally right next to Bryant-Denny Stadium. I did pull the little cord here. Whoa, about to fall off. But I got to put it on so you guys can see exactly what's going on because we're right next to the stadium where Alabama today takes care of Mississippi State, and they do it in dominant fashion. Look, this game, 30-6, it really doesn't even tell the tale of today's game. But look, good win for Alabama. Obviously, it's one of those games that Alabama really needed to bounce back after that tough loss to Mississippi State. We're going to take your calls. I want to talk about it. Bryce Young, another Bryce Young type performance. Gibbs, another great job by him. You're talking about a team that played some defense today. And this is a team in Mississippi State that Alabama has had a lot of success against, here over the last few years since Mike Leach took over. The air raid has not had a lot of success against Alabama. So I want to hear from you guys as well. And guys, in the comment section, man, good to see all you guys. Big Buck, I see you in there. Marcos, Roberta, David, all you guys. Zoo. Roll Tide, everybody. Thanks for being here on the show. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the thumbs up as you hang out with us here right next to Bryant-Denny Stadium after a win by the Crimson Tide. 205-850-1994. But let me tell you about Westgate before we start getting to the calls and talking to you guys. Westgate Luxury Condominiums. If you're coming to Tuscaloosa, this is the place you want to hang out. This is where we are right now at the Skygate Club. There's one unit that's left for sale. But there's other ones that probably will be for sale. That's why I want you to check it out, westgateal.com. You're talking about the oversized balconies. You're talking about the great parking. You're talking about the Skygate Club, the amazing kitchens. Everything that goes as part of this, you need to check it out. So 1 to 5 bedroom units, westgateal.com. And as you hang out with us, Chris Daughtry and me, Mick Gillispie, right now on the post-game show, do us a favor, man. Give us a thumbs up, man. I appreciate that so much. That's a way of saying Roll Tide because you watch the show and you appreciate it. And we appreciate you guys being part of this. Make sure that you hit the bell. That's how you know that, when we go live that you're going to be notified on any of that stuff. And I was talking to my buddy Clint today. He said, I had to search for the bell, but I found it. Okay. I'm like, look, I'm telling you to hit the bell because when we go live, you'll be able to jump on and check out the shows. And then again, 205-850-1994, Alabama with a dominant win. Let's just get right into this, man. I can't wait to hear what all you guys think about the game. Your comments after a 30-6 win. Alabama is now 7-1 with this victory, and they'll have a week off. And we'll talk about all the stats. But who's this and where you come from?
Hey, it's Robert from Mobile.
Robert, it's always good to hear your voice, my friend. How you doing? What'd you think of the game?
Well, it definitely was the get-right game on defense that we needed. The offense could have been better. I mean, they scored 30 points, but there was a lot on the table that we didn't get. But I think it was more of a take it easy, get everything right again, especially on defense. It started out a little shaky for the defense early on. They let Mississippi State stay on the field a little too long in the first quarter. But after that first quarter, they got settled down, and it was off. They were off to the races. Could have had a shutout, but that's okay. I mean, 6 points in college football these days is pretty much like a shutout. But the defense definitely needed to do a better job. And number 7, what's on defense? What's his name again?
You're talking about you talking about Ricks, Eli Ricks.
Ricks. Yeah,
Great
Eli
game.
Ricks.
It was good to see Eli in the game, right?
Yeah. I've heard all week people saying, "Why didn't you get Eli Ricks in the game? Why did against Tennessee?" And now it makes Pete Golden look even dumber not getting Eli Ricks in the game last weekend because there's no way he would have done worse, which means he would have done better, which means that we could have won the game because he would have done a little better. Okay, he may not have if he just stops one of those 5 touchdowns, which it looks like he could have done, well, then you should have had him in the game trying. So, yeah, Pete, the defense was better today, but Eli Ricks could have made a difference last week. And so why didn't you put him in last week? But okay, he's in now. That's great. But it kind of adds fuel to the fire of the fans see, we told you this sooner. Why didn't you do it sooner? So, yeah, that's a good question. Why didn't you do it sooner? Because, the guy had the outstanding game. He looked like he'd been in there all season. And it was just his first start. And, and Ole Miss is high-powered passing team. Not much below Tennessee. So it's, wow, wasn't this guy starting sooner? So I've asked a lot of credibility to the criticism of, we were asking those questions earlier. Why didn't you make it happen earlier? Especially last week. But going forward, we'll see. Hopefully he'll improve, and we can shut down the Tennessees of the college football the next time we meet them. Because it's about it's totally about taking one game at a time and winning on out. And I saw Nick Saban's interview after the game, and he was all smiles. He was interviewing. It was nice to see. He was in a good mood. I guess so. Yeah, your defense had an outstanding performance after that debacle last week. And it's a really good offense. Mississippi State's offense is one of the best in the SEC. One of the best in college football. So it's no slouch shutting them down as much the way the defense did. Which gets them in feeling good. So I'm sure the defense felt terrible all week long after last game because that was an embarrassment. That was utter embarrassment. So, but it shows that if you play the players you got out there, Pete, a good thing can happen. If you see one thing's not working, change it, and don't wait till the next game to change it. Why wasn't this guy on the field all season? But all right, he's there now, so let's get going now. Although you hate for the defense to be relying on one person to be this good, but it seemed. But it's not one person. Will Anderson and everybody else, and everybody and him and all the players. But it looks like if we put him in last week, he could have made a difference. So maybe you got it now, Pete Golden. Maybe you have it now. Bill O'Brien's offense still can be shaky at times. We're still not running the ball enough, especially in the red zone. A couple of plays in the red zone. Come on, man, run the ball. We got 30 points, but it's a good thing we didn't need more than 30 because we let a few plays in the red zone go that we should have had. But all right, that's all right. But we scored 30. But it was definitely good. Get right game for the defense, and the offense could have been better, but that's okay. We'll improve as time goes on. But it was definitely good to see this game. So, unfortunately for Mississippi State, once again, you meet up with Alabama after a loss, and you get the beat down for the day. For the day. So that's how it goes. Maybe next year we'll come to your stadium and we won't have lost a game, so we won't have to take our frustrations out on you, but we'll see. All right, man. It was great talking with you.
Hey, always great to hear from you, Robert. Yeah, look, Mississippi State paid the price for the bad officiating and everything else that went wrong last week. Officiating looked a lot more normal this week. I'm not going to get into that, but I saw Marco made a comment on the comment section, and I'm totally with you. I mean, you could tell right away that this wasn't going to be one of those games where you're sitting there shaking your head. But, yeah, Eli Ricks, look, I mean, I think the guy solidified the fact that he can play some football, and it was good to see him in the game. All right, let's go right back to the phone lines. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Bama Insider post-game show, Alabama with a 30-6 win. I just told Chris Daughtry we did cover, just to know that we did. It was a 21-point spread, and we hung on even with that, trash time touchdown by State, the first one that Mike Leach actually scored on Alabama since he's been head coach. Who's this, and where you come from?
Hey, it's Demetrius from North Carolina.
Demetrius, roll tide in North Carolina, my friend. What are you thinking?
Roll tide, family, roll tide. Yeah, I'm sitting here getting ready to go in and leave my man cave to go out here to go back in the house with my beautiful wife here, and I just wanted to call in to thank these young men for helping me stick my chest out a little bit more. I mean, yeah, with some areas that we can improve on, and especially on the offensive side. You know, I still got to hold my head down about Bill O'Brien. I just don't know. I be doing Hail Marys all day long with his play calling. But, you know, I shout out to them young men. They've been taking criticism from myself and everybody all week long. And I'm glad to see them come in this game and turn around, especially the defensive backfield. And, you know, that last 6 points, it is what it is. You know, hey, I'm still gonna count it as a shutout. And
in your book, it's a shutout, huh?
I mean, yes, my book. I called it a shutout. I mean, they've done everything possible just so they can get points on the board. So shout out to them young men. You know, they took criticism. Some of it constructive, most of it's not. Most of it wasn't constructive criticism. You know, they're gonna have to look forward to that all their life, whether it's playing football or not. You're gonna get criticized. So Roll Tide family, and y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening.
Roll Tide, Demetrius, another great call, my friend. Thank you. Demetrius from North Carolina dropping a call. Yeah, hey, look, phone lines are open. I want to hear from you guys. Tell me what you thought about the game. Alabama, obviously, a winner today. Good bounce-back game. Mississippi State, again, on the receiving end of a can of whooping after Alabama loses. And, you know, a lot of good things. Some stuff that Alabama could have won this game by 60 or 70. I mean, like, there's some stuff. Chris is over here giving me that look. But Alabama won the game convincingly, but could have done more. Who's this and where you calling from?
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on. Where you calling from? Yeah.
Hey, awesome, man. This is my first time calling in. My name is Caleb Stevens. I'm from Little Rock, but I'm a huge Bama fan.
Roll Tide in Little Rock.
Alabama. So Roll Tide in Little Rock. I know I get a lot of hate for it, but anyway, I just want to give a little 2 cents on the game. I thought it was a great game. I thought there was a lot of energy on the field. I was really watching that last drive. I wanted to see if our defense had extra motivation to pitch the shutout, you know. And seeing DeMarco Hellens, you know, kind of get in the face of one of those younger players, it was just good to see that energy because I think we've been lacking that. But anyway, I thought Eli Ricks is a dog, man. That dude can play. You can tell that his length and athleticism just helps on those slant routes and on his back shoulder throws. So it was really good to see the DBs out there making plays. Yeah, Bill O'Brien, I mean, sometimes it sputters a little bit, but still a good game. Bryce Young, you know, not taking any sacks, really just getting the ball out, not taking any big hits. It's really important because we're going to need him down the stretch. But, yeah, I kind of echo what a lot of people have been saying as far as with some of the play calling and in the the red zone. I mean, we got some great running backs. You know, I feel like we could really ground and pound it like we used to. But anyway, overall, great game. And I think the big question was, you know, you got this air raid offense going against the DBs that got shredded. But Helms, man, he came back strong this game. Made some great plays. So that's what I think about the game.
Well, look, I thought it was a good win. I mean, it's the next game on the schedule. The problem that Mississippi State has is to really affect Alabama, you got to stretch the field vertically, and they just didn't do that today. And
no,
and Alabama's going to score their 30. I mean, you can go ahead and pencil in 30 no matter what.
Yeah, I wasn't really worried about this game at all. Really, the main thing was, can we execute without making mistakes and errors? And man, only one penalty tonight. And maybe two, that late pass interference. But anyway, I thought it was a great game, and I'm looking forward to how we go down and take care of business in LSU.
Well, look, I thought it was a great win. I'm looking at Jay Barker over here. Hey, congratulations to the 92 team, man. You got is the crew up here for the post game party? They're all coming up here? Yeah. Bring them on, man. Look, I'll tell you this right now. These are all important wins for Alabama. And I mean, like when you have a week like they did last week to come back and play the kind of defense that they played today, I think that's important stuff. So it was a good win. I mean, and, now that Eli Ricks is in the mix, I'm kind of curious to see what that means. So great call. Anything else before we go to the next call?
Am I still on?
Yeah. Then anything else? I mean,
my bad.
I'm just hanging. Look, Jay's up here in the house. Jay's got, they were out here doing their national championship stuff. I mean, I love that. I love the fact that, these guys are – how many years was it? 30. I don't even want to believe that. Can you believe it's been 30 years since the 92 championship?
You know what? I'm wearing my 1992 national championship.
He's wearing his 92 national championship shirt right now.
I'm talking about one of the craziest Alabama tees I've ever seen. I actually collect vintage clothes. I got a bunch of Bama gear. And this one's like this all-over print, crazy national championship T-shirt with the score on it, us beating Miami. I'll never lose. This shirt I'm wearing to every game I ever go to.
That was one of the greatest wins of all time.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I got to trim that too. But anyway, I'll get off the phone lines.
Hey, man, thanks for the call, brother. Roll Tide out in Little Rock, and tell everybody out there we send a hearty Roll Tide to you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back out to the phone lines again. And as we hang out at Westgate Luxury Condominium, a party's breaking out, which I did not expect that. But Alabama with a 30-6 win. Who's this and where you calling from?
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Oh, what's up, boss man? This is John from Kennesaw, Georgia. Man, all I gotta say is Ricks, Ricks. That man was going crazy. Like he was doing some good plays on the defense side. That's all I gotta say. We should have had him in last game. The last game we should put him in.
I agree. Where has he been? You might be like the guy, whatever happened before the season, whatever was going on, we could have used him last week. And maybe when we play Tennessee again,
we could have used him.
We'll let him lock up one of those guys. We'll just let him lock up one of those guys.
Yes. Yeah, that's all I need. All I got I ain't gonna be on here too long, but all I gotta say, Eli Ricks should have been in there.
Hey,
should have been in there.
I agree, man. Roll Tide, man. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide. Yes, sir. Bye.
He's not a first-team All-American for no reason. The guy can play. And we saw that today. Look, the best part about what's going on right now, everyone out there, is that it's Tennessee thinks that they won the national championship last week. I saw that they have the third Saturday in October championship shirts and they're celebrating and everything. The season goes on and on and on. You got to win in Atlanta and then you got to win 2 playoff games. And we know that. And then they had a great win last week, but the season didn't stop, You got to keep on going, and so hopefully we'll get a chance to see those guys again. I'm praying that we see them again. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again and talk about this game. Who's this and where you calling from?
Roll Tide. This is David from Louisiana.
Oh, David, what's up, man? Hanging out in Louisiana. What you doing, dude?
Oh, just got through watching Alabama win that game. It was a very impressive game. Started off a little slow defense-wise, being on the field a lot more. Offense couldn't hardly move the ball in the first quarter. Then they started picking it up. I'm happy for Eli Ricks. He's done a great job, but everybody else keeps forgetting about Hellum, how he stepped up to that tonight. He done a hell of a job tonight. Hellum was getting in that backfield. I think he had a sack, if I'm not mistaken. It was good. A lot of people were talking about the defensive front couldn't get hardly no pressure. Well, we got a couple of guys out with injuries, right now. But as far as the run game, we couldn't run the ball. They were blitzing all night long, just putting pressure on the quarterback, putting pressure on the backfield. Got to get something going for this LSU game. LSU's coming off a big win against Ole Miss. They're going to be hyped up. We're going to be in Tigger Stadium down yonder,
Yeah.
and hopefully we can Winnie the Pooh them on out with some tears rolling out of their eyeballs. But it was a good game. I was very impressed. Eli Ricks done an amazing job. You know, we just got to get some receivers that can get open. I mean, they have got to make some space. You know, I mean, I've said this 1,000 times, like everybody else has said. The receivers have got to get some space. It's gonna be a cat fight. It's gonna be a dog fight in 2 weeks and down there in Baton Rouge. It's gonna be Brian Kelly's getting his team, you know, getting them looking better. You know, every week they're looking better. You know, I hate to say it. I'm not an LSU fan by any means, but they're starting to look good. They got that little dual threat quarterback, Daniels, who can run the ball. He's got a pretty decent arm on him. I don't think they played a defense even close to what we have right now. But if we get all of our defensive players back healthy and everything, I think it'll be – won't have no problem winning. But and I seen a comment earlier. I'm not going to say the person's name, but I'm pretty sure he's listening. Toa does not need to be on the bench. Toa leads the whole team on defense in tackles.
Right.
He gets in the backfield just as much as anybody else. He is the leader of the defense. He changes the calls on the defense if need be. He wouldn't be on the field if he was sucked and was terrible, because Nick Saban ain't gonna let anybody on the field who sucks or is terrible. You know what I mean? So, Mr. So-and-so in the comments, watch the game of football. Learn the game of football. Not going to call your name out, but stop saying Toa needs to be in the daggone on the bench. He'll be in the first round, maybe second round of the NFL draft. So, with that being said, roll tide. God bless America. God bless each and every one of y'all. A win's a win, and I'm ready for all these purple gold tears to stream and flood Baton Rouge and New Orleans and everywhere else around here. So, with that being said, I'll catch y'all in 2 weeks, and as well as throughout the week on the shows that y'all have every week.
David, man, thank you,
good
brother.
Talking to you,
You
Mick.
too. Great to hear your voice.
Yes,
and roll tide, my friend. From Kentucky, where they make great bourbon, Chris. Where they have great bourbon. All right, I'm going right back to the phones. Clint Lamb's going to jump on with me here shortly. But what's up? Who's this and where you calling from?
Am I actually on here?
You're actually on.
My name is Sonia. I'm actually Sonia. And I am really wanting a chance to say roll tide. And they're the best.
They are the best. Where are you calling from?
I'm actually from Alabama. I was born in Fort Payne, Alabama, and I was raised in Georgia, but I'm calling from South Carolina. Roll Tide.
Well, roll tide. Fort Payne.
Oh, yeah, I think I was trying to get in. I kept calling and calling. I mean, Roll Tide is Roll Tide. Even when they're always successful. They're number one. And I'm glad I got a chance to say that for my family from Fort Payne, Alabama, to Georgia, who is from. I'm just a Roll Tide fan.
Well, it was a good win tonight. I'm a Roll Tide fan, as you say, myself. Although I try to be, objective on here, but sometimes I'm not, I guess. I guess it's all those years I spent, on campus. But, I try to be objective. I love Alabama, though. I'm glad that it was to see the team back on track.
Bama is number one, and they're going to get back on track. Just because that little setback with Tennessee don't mean nothing.
I agree. Well, anything else before we go to the next call?
No, but thank you so much for taking my call, because I think it's important. I was just trying to be respectful of these other people, but roll tide. To I dedicate this all my brothers who've gone before me, I'm sticking to my family. I'm out of here. Go Roll Tide. Love you, Roll Tide.
Hey, Roll Tide. Love you too. Thanks for calling in. I see Jay's rolling out. I was going to try to hang out with Jay a little bit before he rolled out of here. But, hey, great call from Fort Payne to Georgia to South Carolina. Everybody's calling in tonight and making their opinions heard. Who's this and where you come from?
Hey, Mick, how's it going, man? This is Brandon from D.C.
D.C. That's my neck of the woods. Brandon, what's up, man? Roll Tide.
All day, man. Roll Tide. Hey, I just want to say, man, I'm really proud of the fellas. That drive, man, that tells you everything you need to. That was one of the things from the defense that was missing last. Really want to make sure that, again, that the offense knows you're on the field, man. And I really have to give kudos to Pete Golding and Nick Saban, man, for putting Eli Ricks in there, right? Like, having that length and having that ability, man, he is just one of those people where he's just a raw talent. But you can just see it that he just has the want to. And I think his confidence was a little bit shaken because of the injury. So I'm glad he got out there. I'm glad the defense looked a whole lot better. You saw Will Anderson was playing like with his hair on fire, so got a whole bunch of QB pressures today. So, again, the defensive line stepped up, man. I think they took the challenge because we ran a very similar defense that we ran last week against Tennessee. But one of the things that I really want to say is, man, kudos to Helms, right? He took it personally that he got picked on last week. I believe that he went ahead and went to the drawing board and really tried to figure out exactly how he can make an impact on the team. So you saw that he was used more as a linebacker, less like a safety, more like a linebacker today, man. So he was coming downhill. They were really sending him on blitzes, and he was really just making an impact. And, you know, one of the things I will say, Henry To'oto'o, man, he's a very smart guy. I just think he's just different than the linebackers we're used to, right? We're used to thumpers. We're used to dudes coming in and filling the gaps and really just stinging it to the running backs, right? He's more of a finesse tackler. And, again, he's good in coverage, but, you know, it's just something different. I think a lot of the Alabama fans, they're not used to it, so they want to bash the guy, tell him he needs to get on the bench. I don't believe that's the case. I think you got to continue giving him opportunities, man. He's doing a good job of setting the team up, but he's just a different type of linebacker, and I think he's going to be the new age type of linebacker because, again, you got to be able to cover in space. I think he does a good job of that. So, again, offense, man, look, I'm not going to bash Bill O'Brien, but the RPO game was there. For whatever reason, man, I think maybe it's because Bryce wasn't practicing this week. It was just a little bit off, right? So the timing was off. I saw some of the receivers going in there with alligator arms, not extending out, getting the balls. So they got to continue working on it. I think it'll get better. They'll get a week off, man, with this bye week coming up. I think Bryce, that's going to help out tremendously with the shoulder. So, again, the timing is everything with the receiver and quarterback. I think they'll be better. But I want to see Tyler Harrell get on the field. I saw him today, man. I want to see what that speed looks like and seeing if they can help open up some of these other receivers, man, because that's one of the challenges we're having right now. Receivers getting open. So not going to hold you too much longer, man. Great Tide win, man. Congratulations to the 92 championship team. So glad to see those guys out there, man. Love y'all, man, and Roll Tide.
Hey, Roll Tide, man. Thank you for calling from D.C. Brandon, great call. Let me go ahead and turn you up, Clint. And Clint, you and I are going to take some calls. You like taking calls?
That one was phenomenal.
It's been great. Look, these are great calls. And I was going to see what Jay was up to, but
I got to speak to him for a few minutes.
I saw Jay. You came over, gave me a high five. I was like, what's up, man? Like, they got honored before the game today. Do you remember that 92 championship team?
I was 2.
You were 2?
Yeah, now granted, I watched the tape. I've gone back and watched the tape.
I was old enough to remember.
Yeah.
Nobody thought they were going to beat Miami.
Hey, sometimes that's all it takes.
They
doesn't matter what anybody thinks outside of that locker room.
Yeah, that's right. That's kind of how it was. Well, Clint, before I get your opinions, you want to do some more calls?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, we're Clint Lamb and Mick Gillispie now on 3, talking Alabama's 30-6 win. Who's this and where you calling from?
My name's Jay. I'm calling from Auburn.
You're calling from Auburn?
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Alabama fan, the contrarian.
Is it? Let me ask you this, Jay. Is it tough being an Alabama fan down in Lee County?
It is. They hate Nick Saban. They want him to drink bleach. They don't like Nick Saban. It's tough.
Well, what'd you think of the game?
It's funny. I would say that, I think Helms. I'm not sold on that guy Helms. I feel like people like Terry Arnold, that he may need to play the star position or Kool-Aid or somebody. And I say Eli Ricks, that dude's nasty. He's got these long ass arms, and he's really good. And I heard Reggie Ragland and another linebacker that played for Bama say how, Henry To'oTo'o, he's not setting the tone for the defense. He's not running through people, you know what I'm saying? He's not setting the tone. Like, you got to think like the linebacker is the quarterback of the defense, and you just don't got that from Henry To'oTo'o. I don't see that. And I would say Bill O'Brien and Pete Golden, that's the worst combination of coordinators I've ever seen. That's all I got to say.
Hey, well, great.
I just feel like Nick Saban, I don't feel like nobody's, exempt from criticism, but I just feel like Saban, time to time, he plays that loyalty bull crap. Like he feels like he owed them players that been around the program for a while. That's how I feel. That's my 2 cents.
Hey, look, you're entitled to your opinion. I'm not even arguing with you. Great call.
Yeah.
You're right. They do want Nick Saban to drink bleach, but I don't think he's going to do it.
I don't think it hurt him.
No. He'd probably just,
make him stronger.
He'd just drink bleach and he'd pee fire.
Yeah.
Hey, great call in Lee County, my friend. Roll Tide.
Yeah, all right, man. Roll Tide.
What do you think, man? I mean, look, I'm not agreeing that Bill O'Brien and Pete Golden are terrible coordinators. I saw a little bit more creativity with the offense today. I want to see more creativity, man. That's my biggest criticism.
It's by far my biggest one as well. I think he's got a good feel for what he wants to do going in and executing that. I just don't think he's creative enough. And I think that kind of goes back to, his NFL background. Obviously he was at Penn State,
right,
prior to, but, a significant portion of his, time coaching has been, on the NFL level. And I think that's probably where he's comfortable from a play calling perspective. I just, it seems like they get down there, near the 35, 40 yard line, and they do the same kind of play action, take a sack that you don't have to take. I've seen that in the last 3 games. I saw it with Milroe when he took an unnecessary sack. I saw it with Bryce Young last week against Tennessee. And then, of course, we saw it tonight as well. But, I think Helms, I thought he played great. It's amazing how much better a player can look when you put him in a position where he's comfortable and he can be successful.
Right.
What he was asked to do last week, no one's going to be able to handle that. But it's like the previous caller before that one, talking about him playing a much more downhill, tone-setting role, which is exactly what he's supposed to do. And he plays that I wouldn't say to perfection, but pretty close to it.
He did a nice job. And look, he's going to be an NFL guy.
Yeah.
But they're not going to ask him to cover the track star wide receiver.
No, he'll probably be a dime linebacker.
I put that on Pete Golding, man. I mean, like, it's your job as the defensive coordinator to try to get good, favorable matchups. And, I mean, last week, I just didn't feel like they put him in a position to be able to have a favorable matchup. You're trying to guard a guy that's way faster than you, and that's really not what your safety's supposed to do, right?
Well, I do think that, there were some things that Tennessee threw at him from a matchup perspective. I don't think that was the plan going in, thinking Helms was going to be able to cover Hyatt. I think that's something that, Tennessee did, and Alabama ended up making an adjustment, and you got a lot of Dom, and you got Malachi Moore on him. Had kind of heard the rumors going in. I talked to some people, and they said that it was very possible that you were going to see Eli Ricks over Tyrion Arnold. And also had heard that you might have ended up seeing maybe some Brian Branch at safety. That ended up not happening.
Right.
But at the same time, that also could be based off matchup. And you might see it, after the bye week or something. We'll have to wait and see. But either way, I will give the coaching staff credit. They're trying to do things to fix the problem. And I do think that, I love Tyrion Arnold. I think he's going to be a hell of a player. But there's little doubt that Eli Ricks.
Oh, he made his point today, didn't he?
And I think that it was, at Alabama, you're not going to play until you do the little things the right way.
Yeah,
and
right. He'll be better for this.
I really think that you're right. And, there's still a lot of football left to be played, and he could still be everything that, Alabama wanted him to be.
All right, look, there was a guy named JJ that used to come on a show that I used to watch, and he used to say Dynamite. Well, Dinovine just hooked us up with a $10 super chat. So thank you, my
Class
friend.
of 03.
He said, Mick, I love Bama too, class of 03. Look, I I'm supposed to be objective, and I try to be objective. I really do. And my criticism of the officials last week has nothing to do with Alabama.
Oh,
I
yeah.
promise
No,
you,
I
it
get
really doesn't. Like, it has nothing to do with the way that the outcome of the game. But it's crazy how just different just the officiating of this game was. Just the tone. You know, hey, we're not going to let your quarterback get smashed by a dude that's 300 pounds head first. You know, like it just felt different. Last week's game felt different from the beginning, but Donovan, man, thank you so much for the super chat. Class of 03, man, Roll Tide.
Did it not feel like Nick Saban got a hold of somebody at the SEC office this past week? Because it felt like they were looking out for Bryce Young, making sure he was protected.
Well, look, I used to do these women's basketball games at Alabama, and then look, the team's been terrible forever. I mean, like, and I'm the play-by-play guy, and we lose every game, you know. And we play Pat Summitt. You know, and that's kind of like women's basketball's equivalent to Nick Saban. And she would like stare at the officials, and the calls would go her way. You know, I mean, I have nothing but respect for Coach Summitt. You know, she's one of the best of all times, and I think that's kind of, you earned that, man. You know, I think you earned that. And last week was, you know, not to get into it, but I don't know. I mean, it is what it is, as Nick Saban says. All right, let's go back to the phone lines.
Let's do it.
Before I get your breakdown of the game, I just want to hear, and I want you to be a part of this, what all of our friends out there thought about this game and kind of just chew on their perspective. Who's this and where you come from? Hey, you there? Who's this and where you come from? Yeah, you there?
Hi, yeah. How you doing?
We're doing good. Where you come from?
Good. Arkansas.
Arkansas.
I know you, Arkansas.
Nice.
Yep.
What'd you think? Throw us your perspective.
Good game. Alabama always plays a good game. I wish I was living in Alabama again.
Where were you from here?
Well, I'm from Magnolia, Arkansas, but my husband was from Alabama. So I moved to Alabama and lived there about 4 years.
It's God's country, isn't it?
Right. Alabama, God's country. You got that right.
All right, what'd you think? What'd you think about the game? Tell us what you thought about the game.
Oh, I loved it. I love it when Bama people do that. Especially when they do that darn stuff. Like that guy, he got disqualified. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, in the first half. Yeah.
That's where Tennessee won. Huh?
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the targeting play when he came in head first. Yeah.
That's the only way Tennessee won. But, yeah, I love Alabama. My whole family hates me.
Well, you're the second person from Arkansas that's called today and said that you're the second person that's called from Arkansas and said that it's tough being an Alabama fan in Arkansas.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, my family don't like me, especially when they beat Arkansas. I'll just laugh in their face.
Well, all you got to do is just say Roll Tide. Throw them a Roll Tide. Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in tonight.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, we appreciate you.
Good night.
You too. Roll Tide. Good to hear your voice. And Clint, there you go. I mean, one thing we've learned tonight is that there's a lot of Alabama fans in Arkansas that are happy tonight.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of Alabama fans out there that should be happy regardless of where you live. You know, it was a good performance, man. It's about as good as you could have expected in the play. Mississippi State's still a good football team.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 5-3. They're
24th in the country coming in.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, with this, it's unfortunate because Alabama's had this stretch where it feels like right before they play somebody, you know, you had Texas A&M. They drop a game right before they play Alabama. You had, you know, obviously Arkansas. You had, who was it last week? Or not last week, but this week. I mean, you got Mississippi State. They lose last week, drop to 5-2, drop out of the top, you know, 15 to 20 to 24. Now they drop out of the top 25 after this loss. the schedule has been much more difficult than it's going to reflect.
Oh, look, this has been the toughest schedule I remember. I mean, this is the toughest Alabama schedule in 20 years at least.
I mean, it's brutal.
At least.
And it's not even close to being over. You got a bye week, and then you got to go on the road to play LSU, who
That's
got a
suddenly
big,
good LSU team.
Yeah, and I was obviously pulling for Ole Miss because I wanted that Ole Miss game in Oxford to be just top 10.
As the kids would say, off the chain.
Yeah. Okay, what happens now, by the way?
Do you still say that? Off the chain? Do you guys still say that? Not really? Okay. They used to say off the chain.
It was a phase.
What do you say now? What? Fire. It's fire.
It's fire, yeah.
That's why we keep Chris here. He keeps me updated on all the lingo. Gas?
Got to.
I use that sometimes too, Chris. Yeah.
But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks.
It is.
They got the bye week. I think it comes at the perfect time. They still got some stuff they got to work on, offensively, defensively. But I think it was a very encouraging performance. And you saw some guys fight. And you also saw, like I said before, some effort being made to get some problems corrected from a, personnel standpoint. And we'll have to see how Ricks continues to do, but it was a great first showing for him.
Yep. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Clint Lamb, Mick Gillispie here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, talking about Alabama's 30-6 win, and that 6 points came on the last play of the game. I don't even count that. No, I'm just kidding. I count it, but it kind of, trash time points. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, man, this is Hugh calling from Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, what's up, man? Out in Phoenix. What's the weather like out there right now? Hot and dry?
Man, it's 84.
84. Oh, so it's nice. I'm out there for spring training, 84. And it's nice out there, too. Like, you get out there in, like, February or March.
Going down Salt River and check out those rookies and all those guys play tomorrow.
I'll tell you this, man. I get out there, and then I work, and then I'm going to, like, the Old Mission in Old Town for my my margarita, and I got some spots, man. I got some spots out there. Well, tell me what you. I'm sorry, Clint. I'm reminiscing. I'm reminiscing with my friend. I'm reminiscing with my friend from Phoenix. What'd you think about the game?
Yes, sir. I thought it was a great game, man. A great bounce back game for the team. I won't think about why Eli Ricks wasn't playing as much. Just want to be appreciative that he's playing now and got him out there, man, because he made a difference out there in that pass defense.
Hey, look, I think that's the takeaway of the day is that Eli Ricks can play some football.
Yeah, obviously injuries slowed him down for a while.
That guy's a game changer, in my opinion. You can always look at a game, man, and think, well, what could have been done. But we've been spoiled for a little bit. Guys that can blow the top off the field from a wide receiver perspective. But you got to give those guys an opportunity to go. I think Prentice and Bond going to be good down the stretch.
Yeah,
and hopefully they can get Harold back in the fold.
Yeah, look, I'm with you, man. It's time for the young wide receivers halfway through their freshman year. If you can catch the ball and not drop it, and you can get open, it's time to see what you can do.
Yep.
Really spread the football
Those young
around.
guys got the dog in them, man.
Yeah.
And give them guys the opportunity to play, man. So I just want to get a good roll tide to everybody got back down south in Alabama. I'm originally from Birmingham, man, on the south side. And just want to give a good roll tide to everybody, man.
Hey, roll tide, man. Roll tide. Roll tide from the south side of Birmingham out to Phoenix.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you calling, man. Really appreciate it. Great call.
No doubt.
I think, look, he makes a great point. Like the Old Mission makes a great spicy margarita. No, he's right, man. Like, I want to see Eli Ricks matched up on Hyatt next time.
Well,
let's take him out of the game.
What I found really interesting is not only did Ricks start, but a guy who had, a lot of teams had been avoiding throwing at, which was Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yeah.
That was their preferred target between the two.
I know.
So his first time out there as a starter, significant playing time, seeing all the reps. And early on, Mississippi State didn't really want any part. And then they went after Kool-Aid. didn't have a whole lot of success.
Didn't
Obviously,
work out too well.
Yeah, and then they started testing Ricks a little bit more, and I think both performed extremely well. Here's the thing, though. If Ricks is out there and he's playing, he's starting, I think that he's done the necessary things that he needed to do. If he wasn't out there before, obviously, you can look at the two and say that there was a pretty clear difference as far as the performance. Now, I still think Tyrion Arnold is a heck of a player, and he's going to continue to get better. And I still think he's going to be a part of the equation if called upon. And then who knows, you might see him get moved around a little bit.
Right.
Or he might continue to just be valuable depth. But the bottom line is, people's got to understand, Eli Ricks had to earn it. He had been banged up. He had – Nick Saban had kind of alluded to, doing things the right way. And there's a certain standard at Alabama that probably didn't exist at LSU. And until he was ready to play up to that standard in practice and do all the little things that you need to do to be successful, he wasn't going to get out there. And then when you see him get put in the lineup, he ends up performing extremely well. I think that while fans are probably frustrated with the fact that he really hadn't started or played too much up to this point, I think, like you mentioned before, I think he's going to be better for it. And I think Alabama's got, potentially, and it's one game, by the way, so we'll see how it continues. But early signs are pointing towards, hey, maybe this guy is that All-American we saw at LSU.
Right. Well, it gives you more options, too, because you still have Tyrion Arnold. I mean, you can do a lot more with him in there. I mean, obviously, Alabama had a gaping hole last week, but Ricks helps you patch that hole.
I think if you play Tennessee again,
I want to.
I really think.
Do you want to? I want to see it again.
I would love to see the rematch, yeah, because I would love to see how Alabama adjusted. I think they tried some things on the fly, but your game plan is your game plan for the most part. You can only make so many in-game adjustments. Look at this game plan they had for Mississippi State, right? I mean, early on, really throughout the entire night, you saw Dallas Turner lining up as an inside linebacker, a lot, and he was still lining up out on the edge, but they had him more so playing like it was a 3-2-6 Rabbits look, dime Rabbits with 6 defensive backs. And they had Dallas Turner out there playing as an off-ball linebacker. They were sending him, but he also was dropping into coverage a little bit.
Right.
Mississippi State sees that 3-man front. They start, just hammering the football, trying to get Alabama out of it to where maybe they can start operating how they normally want to. That's what they were trying to do. That's why they're hammering it so much is, hey, if it's 3rd and 6, we want to continue to hammer, try to get you out of that 3-2-6. And, Alabama, the game plan is the game plan. You can make some adjustments, but for the most part, that's what Alabama wanted as far as their front's concerned. And I thought it ended up being pretty effective. I'll be curious to see, how often they continue to use it against some of these other offenses. But, Kool-Aid McKinstry's got a little bit of experience at Star. I will be curious to see if maybe, they shift some things around. Maybe you can get Arnold, Kool-Aid, and Ricks on the field at the same time. It's going to be fascinating to watch how the secondary evolves.
Well, they were banged up too. No DJ Dale.
No
Jaheim Otis. You're talking about some big
Lawson.
dudes. You're talking about some big guys that they just didn't have in the middle of that defense.
You saw, Damon Payne, who was a highly rated player coming out of high school last year. You saw quite a bit of him. You saw, some Tim Smith. I think they were still very package specific. Jamil Burrows, they were trying to get him on the field mostly in obvious passing situations. Thought he played pretty well. I'll have to go back and watch the film. But what's interesting is that you were able to get a sizable victory, but you were also able to get some of this depth, some work because of the guys who were out. Now, granted, Brian Branch, I saw his, elbow completely wrapped up with a big ice pack at the end of the game. Before the game was even over, he was on the sidelines with it. And so I don't know, I guess Nick Saban was probably asked about that. I didn't get to catch the post-game press conference. I'll have to go back and listen.
So we'll have it on the BamaInsider YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's exactly that's going to be the ride home there.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Checking out Mike Leach, see what he had to say about everything. What about going forward on 4th down and some of it? I hope
he talks about a wedding tonight.
I'll tell you what is about the state of Mississippi and what they try to, their coaches are all about, hey, let's go for it on 4th really early in this football game. And
not a good idea.
Lane Kiffin did it last year. Completely.
Not a good idea.
The game was over before it started at that point.
Well, that's why they got blown out Ole Miss last
night. And really it had a lot to do with tonight.
Yeah.
It could have been 14-6. It really could have if they would have settled for some field goals. And obviously not gave Alabama the football and plus territory by going for it on 4th. It could have been, looked a lot more respectable. So, I will be curious. I would love to hear what he had to say in his post game about that.
All right, we're going to your calls. Don't jump off because if you're holding, I'm going to get you. It's just we're going to break it down.
Yeah,
who's this and where you calling from?
This is Sister from Alexander City, Alabama.
Well, what's going on, man? Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, brother. Hey, look, I want a true percentage from you, man. What's our percentage? Give me that number on us making it to the SEC championship, going off what you've seen so far.
All right, we'll both do it. I'll let you go first. I'll go second. How about that?
I mean, Ole Miss losing today. What does that mean?
What do you think? Like,
I mean, honestly,
SEC championship. We're going to do it here first, and then you give us your percentage. But Clint, you go. Give me yours.
I would say probably about 80%. I
80?
feel pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Ole Miss is going to be tough, and I think that when you play teams like
I
this,
was going to say 65.
Okay, I respect that. What do you think? You going to split the
No, I
difference?
was going to say 75, but I
You
mean,
gonna split it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I was going to say that before you said 80, but I think 80 too. I mean, like, you still got to go on the road, and you got to LSU. All of a sudden, has become a really important game. Not that it wasn't ever, right? And besides Tennessee, I mean, they talk a lot of smack down there. Although Tennessee is definitely the lead leaguer in smack talk, right? But they're becoming a pretty solid football team. And then Ole Miss, they just don't have the problem that Ole Miss has is that they don't have the depth. And you're seeing that now that they're getting banged up, and that's always been their issue, right? Yeah. They're a good team, but I think this LSU game is going to be the one that determines, man. We got a week off, and then I think it's pretty much a semifinal game.
Maybe I'm looking at it through the wrong angle here, but I see us playing Tennessee again. Do y'all see Georgia?
I hope. I pray it's Tennessee.
Me too.
I want Tennessee again.
And I think it was big. I don't think enough people were talking about this angle. Let's say Bryce Young is unable to go against Tennessee, and Bryce Young is the one that's sitting on the sidelines. If you play them again, you have no idea how Tennessee is going to attack Bryce Young. Right now, granted, you've also on the flip side of that, you've also given them more of a blueprint on how they're going to attack your defense with Bryce.
Right.
But at the same time, I do think that that's valuable because a lot of their pressure packages and bringing off-ball linebackers, and that was a huge problem for Alabama's offensive line. That's where most of their pressure came from was their off-ball linebackers. I think exposing some of that and everything, I think that's going to be beneficial as far as from a game preparation standpoint. And then, it's tough to beat a team twice because when you're the successful team, it's kind of like Alabama and the SEC championship compared to the national championship. You maybe don't make as many adjustments because what you did was successful, and the other team over here is coming up with something completely different. Georgia didn't really – they thought they could beat Alabama's front in that, SEC championship by playing it pretty much straight up. Instead, in the national title, when they figured out they couldn't do that, they had a lot of pressure packages dialed up and had they just had a lot more success. So I think from Alabama's perspective, you would tend to rather play Tennessee, even though they had a lot of success against you. And from a fan's perspective.
Yeah, caller, make your point, dude.
Last question, brother. I want you to take this out of the equation. Can you give me the top 3 Alabama receivers right now in your own opinion?
What's that? Say that.
Top 3 Alabama receivers in our opinion right now.
Oh, top 3. That's a tough question because I honestly, I'm not blown away by any of these guys. I mean, like who's your top 3?
Jacory. I think Jacory's got to be in there. I think for me, I understand he's still young, but if I was Alabama, probably my top 4 would be Bond, Prentice, Brooks, and JoJo Earl.
Yeah.
Now, I think
like that.
Jermaine,
I like that.
They're probably not going to keep him involved, but that would be personally my top 4. I really like what JoJo Earl adds.
Yeah. Well, he's caught some touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I mean, none of these receivers
don't
me away.
On Trayshawn Holden.
Holden's been okay too. I mean, but no one really. We don't have there's just not that guy right now. One of these dudes needs to step up and be the guy. And we don't have that right now.
And I think that some of that is dictated based off of what the defense is giving you now. But at the same time, you've got the inconsistent play.
Well, man, I'll leave y'all with it. I know y'all got some more people to talk to. Roll Tide.
Well, thank you for the call. It was fantastic.
Great call, man. Roll Tide. I love it when people call with questions. Great call. Look, I'm not trying to put the receiving core down, but I mean, I don't see a Judy Ruggs.
Where's the elite route runner?
Yeah, Waddle. I don't see any of that. I don't see a Julio for sure, who I think is the best Alabama receiver ever. Maybe I'm biased, but
I think if he played in some of these offenses, you would have absolutely.
Imagine Julio right now.
I really
just bowling people over. Amari Cooper, Calvin Ridley. I mean, I just don't see that. But maybe there's the guys there. We just haven't seen them yet.
Well, one thing that Alabama has built this offense around, in years past, has been guys who can create separation through their route running, and it's timing and it's pinpoint accuracy. I think Tua took the accuracy game to a whole new level, and having all those options available to them, I mean, it made them very dynamic. But even Mac Jones, very accurate player. Bryce can be accurate, but the problem is I just feel like they win in different ways, and you're not seeing them win through their route running consistently enough. And I think that's your biggest issue. A lot of when they're going to catch the football, 9 times out of 10, if not a higher percentage, it's contested,
right?
And that to me is a huge problem. You don't see guys streaking wide open. Jameson Williams, I mean, he made Bryce's job pretty easy at times last year. You throw it up and I mean, he could create through separation through his route running. You just don't see elite route runners right now. And the ones who do have, that potential, they're still young and they're still learning how to do it consistently and learning the nuances of doing it. Because in high school, they were able to get separation, no problem.
Well, the other thing, too, is that these guys got to block better. And I mean, I know we don't talk about that, but the one of the things that the receivers did so well up until this year was that you throw like those little passes in the flat, and they're blocking and they're opening it up for somebody else.
Yeah,
like that's a part of it, man. I mean, like I don't even know what those passes are called, the little ones out in the flat, but it's like, look, Smitty might take it to the house, but it's because somebody else is blocking for him.
You are 100%. And what's interesting is that it feels like a lot of the time they're scheming up Cameron Latou being out there on the perimeter blocking in space. I just haven't seen enough consistency. He's a pretty good blocker in line. Obviously a good pass catcher. But when it comes to blocking in space, I haven't really seen it. And you're 100% correct. One thing that Devontae Smith, and what's wild, very quickly, a couple of weeks ago, the Philadelphia Eagles were playing a team, and they went predominantly a very heavy tight end set where they only had one receiver on the field. And Eagles fans couldn't figure out why in the hell is A.J. Brown not on the field.
Right.
They had traded a first-round pick for him. He's a big body.
He's on my fantasy team.
Yeah, he's built like a running back, very good blocker.
Yeah.
But what's wild is the reason they didn't have him out there for like the first, 8 or 9 plays of that opening drive is because they went one receiver, and they had 165-pound Devontae Smith because he's a better blocker than A.J. Brown is. At 165 pounds, he blocks his tail off. All those receivers – a couple of years ago, they took pride in their blocking.
Great.
Don't really see that as much nowadays.
And they need to step that up. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again, talk about this Alabama win. Anything you guys want to get into? 30-6, Alabama over Mississippi State. Back in the win column again. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hello?
Hey, yeah. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Mick, this is Quan, man. Quan from New Orleans calling in.
Quan, what's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, bro. You got Clint with you tonight. How y'all doing, man?
Doing fantastic.
Clint's here. Quan, you got to tell him about I know this is going to be a big 2 weeks for you down there because there's LSU starting to get a little confidence. They're getting a little pep in their step, man.
Oh, yeah. Now, I live in a house with LSU fans, so, they already talking crazy, but I want to make a few points, man, before I get off, Mick. We got to get Pete Golden. We got to give him his props tonight. They stepped up. He made some adjustments. He looked a lot better than last week, and I've been listening to the callers call in, and it always seems to wonder, why the hell didn't you do that last week, man? If Eli Ricks was in there last week, Tennessee, you got to think, Mick, Tennessee probably wouldn't. 1 or 2 of those touchdowns wouldn't have been touchdowns if Eli Ricks was out there playing the way he played tonight. So, it goes back to that, and we hate to critic. We love Coach Saban, that. We hate to criticize him, but it kind of, his loyalty. Sometimes the loyalty would be, I don't know. It just seems like sometimes he can put guys in a lot faster than they have to. Like, we don't need to take a loss for you to put guys in. So now we don't have no wiggle room, and everything counts, and it's the same thing. Like, even on the offensive side of the ball, Bill O'Brien, I know Jay is kind of high on him. He's a great coach, and I'm not questioning his coaching ability, his teaching ability, but he has not been a great play caller, Nick. He has not been a great play caller.
Very, very boring.
You know,
boring play caller.
Yeah, very, very vanilla. You know, you go back and look at the games this year, you know, the first play of every game, it's always a run play. You know, so it's like teams know now, you know, so we go on the road to LSU in 2 weeks. Brian Kelly's going to automatically know the first play of the game, Bill O'Brien going to run the ball. You know, the offense, everybody's pumped up. They're excited. You know, he's going to run the ball. The offensive line might not get the push. You know, we already behind the 8 ball. So it's just very vanilla, very, you know, it's no creativity. He did a little better tonight, but we still had 3 or 4 drives in the second and the third quarter where we went 3 and out. And I think Coach Saban even elaborated on it in his post-game interview on the field. You know, said that the offense, you know, kind of stalled in the second half, you know. And you know as well as me, Mick, once we get further down the road, you know, you're not going to be able to have these stall, you know, you're playing these great teams, these Tennessees and these Georgias. You're not going to be able to keep going 3 and outs 3 and 4 times in a row. You know, hell, the Texas game, I think we had 6 possessions when we punted the ball. No point. So he's not been a great play caller, Mick, and I'm not trying to beat up on him or nothing. He's a great coach, a great teacher, but he has not been a great play caller. And one more thing, Mick. Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones, they all left Alabama with national championships as starters. It's going to be a disgrace if Bryce Young leaves Alabama as a starting quarterback without a national title under his belt. And the only common denominator that they have that Bryce don't have is they all had a better play caller. They all had a better play caller. They had Mike Locksley. They had Brian Dable. They had Steve Sarkisian. Bryce just don't have a great play caller. And, you know, I don't want Coach Saban to let, you know, this pro-style, all we see is this pro-style BS every week. Our team, Alabama, looks like we play on Sundays. That's the type of offense he plays. It's like he took this playbook, Mick, and he picked out 7 or 8 plays, and he threw the book out the window and said, "To hell with everything else." So I just hope he get creative, because now we got these road games. We're going up to the Bayou in 2 weeks. You know as well as I know, Mick, that's going to be a very difficult environment to play in.
Quan, I agree, man.
We go from there to Oxford. So to get to Atlanta, you know, Bill O'Brien got to be better too. And why wasn't Tyler Harrell inserted earlier? We don't want to see him in mop-up duty. He can't do no worse than what these wide receivers already doing.
I agree with you, man.
Bryce is doing a lot with less. He's doing a lot with less. So we need to get Tyler Harrell inserted in the game plan, because we're going to need somebody to stretch the field.
I agree, man. Look, Quan, I agree. First off, Bill O'Brien's got to come up. I mean, the problem is that you're comparing him to, you know, Sarkisian, and you're comparing him to Lane Kiffin. Those guys were creative, man. You just, every time you watch the game, you're like, man, that's crazy. Like, we're very vanilla. I mean, you know, I'm with you, and I'm not saying like he's not going to lose you the game, but at the same time, it's like, I'm with you, man. Like, and it would be nice to see somebody like catch a deep pass. When's the last time since Jameson Williams left that somebody caught a deep ball? Has anybody even done that this year?
Bryce is doing all he can with the working with them. So Homer Wiggins needs to get these wide receivers together. I don't know if they need to get Smitty, Jalen Waddle on the FaceTime. I don't know, but they need to insert something in this wide receiver room, and they need to bring Tyler Harrell along. I mean, hopefully it don't take another loss for them to insert Tyler Harrell. We need him now. So, you know, that's just a few points I wanted to hit home with, Nick.
Yeah, Quan, great call, man. I'm with you. I mean, I've said it. Clint will tell you, I've said it every week. I just think that the biggest problem that Bill has is that you got to be more creative.
Well, you know, what's fascinating to me is I think that the offensive line was a huge problem last year, and I think it really limited or capped what he had at his disposal.
Right, that's true.
This year, it seems like any time he does try to do something creative, early in the game, he wanted to take a couple of shots.
Right.
Receivers couldn't get open downfield.
Yeah.
So this year, you start to wonder, you're like, I wonder how much better he'd look if guys could do that. If he had Jameson Williams and John Mechie again, how much better would Bill O'Brien's play calling be? Now, here's the thing. You've got what you've got, and you've got enough. I'm not saying that it's everything that Mac Jones had or Tua Tagovailoa or any of those guys, but you have enough. You still have one of the most talented wide receiver rooms in the country. Figure out a way to make it work. I will say, I think we know why. The rumors about Alabama pursuing Jordan Addison in the offseason.
Yeah, we know why now.
We know why now, because how much of a difference would that guy have made?
Yeah, be nice to have him. Quan, great call, man. Anything else?
Oh, yeah, roll tide to you and Clint, man.
Hey, roll tide, man. Have a great week, and hopefully we'll be tipping back a win next time we talk.
Yes, sir.
Hey, great.
Yes, sir. Y'all enjoy it, man.
You too,
absolutely.
Man. Thank
Appreciate
you for
the call.
calling in out there in New Orleans. Look, it's going to be LSU's all of a sudden become somebody you got to take for real, man. They beat Florida. And then they beat Ole Miss today. They were favored in that game today, and I was surprised. I took Ole Miss. And
Vegas knows, man.
Yeah, but and Ole Miss had to lead the half, and then LSU just physically beat their butts in the second half.
You kind of knew it was coming with Ole Miss to a degree, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
but
the struggles against Vanderbilt, and it just feels like every week. I don't feel like they should have really won, the Kentucky game. It's a good football team. I still think they're figuring out a lot, especially, they're still figuring out a lot defensively. You got to understand LSU, they're nothing to write home about. And they're dropping 40 bombs on you.
Yeah.
It's offensively, they're nothing to write home about. And, I'll be very curious to see how LSU, because, Kayshon Boutte, very good receiver. They've got a pretty
He almost came here.
Yeah,
I heard he was coming and he couldn't get the grades.
From
a source, that's what my source told me. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard.
There was a lot of rumors circulating.
And then he got a big NIL, and it's been a terrible start for him. But he had a great game against Florida. I don't even know what his stats were today, but I'm guessing that for them to do well, he's got to be playing well, right?
Well, they needed to get him more involved, and he's, I think he's got some, a little bit of an attitude problem at times, but
right.
You can't deny
Chris,
the talent.
But we still, no, I'm just kidding, Chris. You know.
But LSU's pretty good at receiver.
I'm just kidding. He thinks I'm serious.
I didn't give.
He's got his headphones on, Clint.
I didn't give enough credit to Tennessee's receivers, even though I knew they were good. Yeah. I didn't give enough credit. LSU's got some really good receivers, and they got a quarterback who can get them the football. The offensive line is going to be their really big issue. If Alabama can't put consistent pressure on Jaden Daniels in that football game, I don't care. It's a couple of weeks away. They should get, healthy. I'll be curious to see that freshman left tackle they have. I'll be curious to see what his status is. But they need to be able to put pressure on Jaden Daniels, because that could be a very interesting football game if they can't.
Yep. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. Who's this and where you calling from?
It's JP in Foley, Alabama.
JP and Foley, what's up, man? Roll Tide.
Man, roll Tide. I kind of just want to echo what the last caller just said. I mean, I was happy that we got the win, definitely, but, sitting here, I can't say that I'm not disappointed. I think we could have played a lot better. I think Bill O'Brien, I don't know what the guy's doing. We've got a tremendous running back, but we seem to not be able to utilize him properly. When we do run the ball, which is extremely rare for some reason, we seem to run, side to side. I don't know if the offensive line is incapable of getting a push and going north to south, or.
Well, thank you. Hey, sorry, we just got Alice just brought us all.
Thank you so much.
She brought us some of these right here. Cheers to you, Alice. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Alice, we're talking about the game up here, Alice. Yeah. She thought the game was awesome. We're talking about the Bill O'Brien maybe could be a little more creative. You think that? Yeah. I heard there's only one unit left for sale right now. Did you sell the other one? Did you sell? Well, congratulations. I'd tip you right there. Well, we love hanging out on the roof and talking about football. Have you met Clint and Chris?
It is wonderful to meet you. Good
Alice
to meet
Maxwell, WestgateAL.com. Yeah. You make me feel like I'm at home up here. I gotta tell you, Alice.
This place is incredible, by the way.
Yeah, he loves it.
Absolutely incredible. Anytime I get to come over here, I skipped out on the Nick Saban press conference because I wanted to go ahead and get over here. So thank you for having us.
You moved here. Well, let's say, look, I don't blame you.
I might be next if I can, let me get my finances in order, and we're going to be my first call, I can assure you.
Well, Roll Tide, Alice, thank
Good to meet you.
And look, Foley, I'm just finished your point. Sorry, Alice walked up with these. Alice runs the place here. So.
Delicious, by the way.
Yeah. Did we lose you?
Exactly.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this one. I'm honestly, this one's for you right here. So warm you up on a cold night. But look, do you think that? Let me ask you this. Let me just reverse the tables. Are you concerned about Alabama going into this game against LSU?
Absolutely. And it's got nothing to do with LSU. I mean, when our best plays through the air are all on scrambles and our receivers need apparently 10 seconds to get separation, that's not good. I don't know if it's our receivers. I don't know if it's Bill O'Brien's team. It seemed like when Milroe came in for 2 drives, he, caught the snap, took 2 steps and threw the ball and, was pretty close to completing one and completed the other. So, I really don't know what to think, but it seems like if we can't scheme our guys open, if our guys are going to need, 7, 8, 9 seconds by scrambling around to get separation, we're in trouble. You know what I mean? And I thought we had good enough pieces. Bryce Young is obviously the man, but I got to question play calling when we've got a kid who, they said on the broadcast is 24/7 rehabbing his shoulder, and he's out there throwing the ball 40 times, and we run the ball 20. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, great. Hey, great point. And look, I agree with you in one big way too, is that it's always been about balance, but I don't feel like it's balanced anymore.
Well, I will say,
when you throw the ball on first down and, we maybe get most of the time it seems like get an incomplete pass, and then we try and run the ball and can't get a push in the run game because we're going sideline to sideline, you're going to have to throw the ball a bunch because you're in, second and long, third and long all the time.
I mean, when you look back the last 3 weeks, obviously you had, if you think about it, there was some rough stretches in there the last 3 weeks. I mean, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and then, of course, against Tennessee, you lose the football game. But Jahmyr Gibbs was averaging 24 touches a game, and 21 of those were carries. And then tonight he had 10 carries for 37 yards.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And, I think they weren't really creating any sort of consistent movement in the run game. I thought the pass protection early, and then the second half really, I think the offense in general started kind of falling apart a little bit. But early on, there were some moments, there was some leakage at times, but I thought there was also some big-time moments where he was able to stand in the pocket and deliver the football. But the caller's absolutely right. I mean, a lot of what you see as far as Alabama's success, getting the football downfield or getting these guys that seemingly are wide open, where it's an easy pitch and catch, it's been as a result of Bryce Young creating. And I'll tell you right now, if Mac Jones was the starting quarterback, if he would have been the starting quarterback last year behind Alabama's offensive line, things could have been pretty ugly.
Right.
If he would have been the quarterback this year, with the fact that, how much Bryce is having to create with his legs and buy time and just do the guy's a magician. Mac Jones is a heck of a quarterback, but I think he would have struggled because his receivers wouldn't have been getting open consistently enough. And it's just Bryce Young's not able to operate the offense in a very, normal rhythmic way.
Right.
It's always him having to do something extra. And that is, that's a good point. You see all this successful stuff and you think it's incredible, and it is. But Joe Burrow, he could do a lot of that magical stuff. Johnny Manziel back at Texas A&M, he could do a lot of that magical stuff, but they could also operate the offense as it is supposed to operate, and you're not really seeing that too much from Alabama right now.
Hey, great call, man. Thank you. And Roll Tide, my friend, call in after the LSU game. All right, let's go to another call. Yeah, another great call. Let's do a couple more before we wrap it up tonight, talking about Alabama's 30-6 win. And, everybody's kind of focused on LSU, and I don't blame them. could be a de facto West championship game. Maybe. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Who's this and where you come from?
Yeah, I'm on.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, this is Tina from Athens, Alabama.
What's up, Tina?
A Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
But I was calling because the thing I seem to be missing is the person. There's always this one person that is just pulls us out of everything unexpectedly. When they step on the field, it makes everybody nervous. We don't have.
So who's the person that you're thinking of? Like, tell me who that person was in the past that you think like they make this thing.
There's always been one. There's always been one. It's like Sherman Williams, David Palmer. It's that one person that always makes the unexpected play.
Sometimes it's multiple. Yeah, there is typically one though. She's right. She's absolutely right. And Jahmyr Gibbs is kind of supposed to be that in a lot of ways. But
I think he is. I mean, as far as Julio was that guy.
Right, but the passing attack is it's wild. I mean, you got the reigning Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and he can buy time and do a lot of things. But I mean, and you look at Alabama's receivers and the way they recruited last year, and the way that they recruited in this past cycle. You look at the fact they went out and they got a guy like Tyler Harrell, they got a guy like Jermaine Burton, two of the better receivers in the transfer portal. You would just think that Bryce Young would have too many weapons. I will be curious, and I want to get your take. I also want to let her finish her call, but do you think any of this has to do with the fact that Alabama's playing too many receivers?
I don't know.
You got to think if you're throwing to 19 different people, it's really hard to build a chemistry with 3 or 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
And every rep that you're not giving to one guy, maybe it is time to, dial things back as far as the number of receivers that you're using. Maybe not expand to Tyler Harrell. Maybe it's pull it back and let some of these other guys, especially the young guys, get extra added reps and see if they can build something, and continue to get better. It's difficult when you're having to spread the football around that much.
Yeah, good. That's a good point. All right, one more call, Clint. We're going to do one more call. And then you and I are going to break this thing down. Who's this and where you calling from?
Yeah, am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
This is Peanut Mike in Rangeville, Alabama.
What's up, Peanut?
Yeah, not much. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, brother.
Yeah, I just hope that Bill O'Brien at some point can get it together. Coach Saban, he really needs to hold him and our staff accountable for their actions. There's nothing more I would love than to get to Atlanta in December and then have that big orange dick ran down our throats again. Go Big Orange, baby.
Oh, man. How often does that happen to you?
That's like one win in 16 years.
Hey, I told Alabama fans for years, probably the last 3 or 4 years, I said that the second that Tennessee finally wins, I don't know when that'll be, but when it happens, you're gonna see a lot flowing in the opposite direction. And I got a feeling. I mean, it's been a week.
I know.
I mean, it's been a week, and I guarantee you, Alabama fans are probably pretty sick of it. Give it a couple more weeks, and wouldn't it be hilarious though if
I want to play them again?
Could you imagine they finally get one after 16 years, and you take it away from them and take it right back 2 months later? 2.5 months later.
I got more messages from people that never text me, and all their cigars and stuff. And it's like, so for 15 years, I've never sent a cigar picture to a Tennessee person. I've never talked smack. I just like, hey, it's, and honestly, I felt like if it's not for like the bogus official with the terrible call at the end of the game, they still don't cover the spread, like let alone win the game. And you would think that they won, 40-10 or something. But I love it. Like that's what I love about Tennessee.
When it's been 15 years.
But that's what I love about them.
Yeah.
Is that like we're doing the show last week at Trotter's Whole Hog, and that lady comes up to us and she starts cussing at us. It's like, you know what? Just one time. Just one time I'd like to beat Alabama. Like, okay, well, one time. Yeah, I
wonder how she's doing today.
Oh, man.
Hey.
But I'm pretty good at like smelling out.
He had me in the first half.
He got me.
The Bill O'Brien thing really rode that train. Let us know. Well played.
Peanut.
I mean, I respect it, man.
Peanut. He said his name was Peanut.
Peanut. That should have been our first clue right there.
Oh my gosh, man. Then they played a big game against Tennessee Martin today.
Yeah, and I will give them credit because I kind of said on Twitter, I'd wondered. I understand it's an FCS opponent, and I understand I never thought Tennessee was going to be threatened in that football game. I just said after the emotion of 15 years, I wonder how well they end up. Do they come out flat a little bit, come out rusty? And defensively, they did early.
This is what I want to put this up here. I wasn't going to do this, but because of Peanut, I'm gonna throw this up here because this is the most ridiculous thing. If you can see that. It's their third Saturday in October championship T-shirt that they're selling.
That can't be real.
It's real. This is real. Like they're selling that. Look, this is the thing, and no offense to you guys, Peanut. No offense to you, Peanut. Our championships are won normally in January. Congratulations.
There's, you know what?
You guys beat Alabama. And it's week 7. Like, come on.
There have been a lot of, Texas A&M last year.
Yeah.
Alabama ends up playing for a national title. Auburn one year. And then I remember my brother was really upset about it. And I was like, hey, you might see them again. And
please.
And then they end up getting beat by Georgia. That took Auburn out of it at that point. And then it ended up being Georgia that Alabama got, in the national title game and ended up winning. But hey, I don't blame a Tennessee fan a bit because it's been 15 years. It was a decade and a half.
Yeah, a decade and a half.
I mean, it's like he
literally showed us the picture. He was like 5. He had a picture of a bass, and the bass was half of his size. Our producer, Chris.
Yeah, I've been driving for about a year.
You've been driving for a year. I was at the game.
I was actually 16.
I was at the last time that Tennessee beat us before.
In Knoxville.
Yeah, it was just a typical Mike Shula debacle, They boot Alabama's ahead late in the game, and then there's just all the boob stuff that happened when Shula was coach, and then you lose, and then Saban took over, fourth quarter program, and and then it is what it is. But look, the problem is Peanut and all of the Tennessee people that are like watching right now, and you guys are I'm glad that you're doing this because I've tried to convince everyone around here this is my favorite rivalry.
Yeah.
And people didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd have former players on here. Mike Johnson played at Alabama. He's like, I remember being on the show with Ben George and Barron Huber. And Barron grew up in Powell, Tennessee, so he knows. And I know, and Ben and I went to college together, and Alabama lost to Tennessee back then, and we heard all your talk just like that. You guys you lead the league in smack talk. I mean, I think Alabama's won 6 titles, 6 since your last championship, but you guys lead the league in smack talk, which, I mean, come on, man, that's an accomplishment within itself, and we're trying to convince him that Tennessee's a rival, and we're like, look. Lose to him one time.
That's all it takes.
And you'll figure it out. So Peanut, you and all the rest of you guys that, that are out there, I mean, like you're making our point for us. And I'm glad because I don't ever want Alabama not to take Tennessee for granted.
It was, it was this week, and what I mean by that is, no offense to Mississippi State, but from an Alabama fan's perspective, you really you were itching to see them get back on the football field and kind of, rectify some of the mistakes from last week. But really, when you look at the opponent and stuff, it's like, hey, if you don't take Mississippi State seriously, they can cause you problems. But I don't think Alabama fans were really worried about this game. I think the reason that some people are still calling in upset with a 30-7 victory is because they were thinking it was going to be 50-7 or 55-10 or something.
Yeah, well, it could have been.
Yeah, it really could have been.
And I think that's the part that a lot of the people that are on here. I see Buck 50. I'm going to throw this up here. Yeah, he's like, there's no killer instinct. And I feel like that's exactly the issue, is that when Alabama has a chance to strangle these guys, it's all of a sudden, it's just this, mundane play calling, and it's like, okay, well, we're just trying to get to the end of the game. And I feel like it's like, I get that, and that's kind of an NFL mentality, but at the same time, it's like, man, score as many as you can score.
There are some phenomenal people. So first of all, some phenomenal talent, some phenomenal people on this football team.
Yeah, right.
Jordan Battle's incredible. Will Anderson's incredible. Bryce Young's incredible. I could go down the list, on and on and on. Name the person in that locker room, and this is to drive a point home. I think, who would I be terrified to walk up to interview them after a football game? You know who I would have been terrified to interview? Jonathan Allen.
Yeah, right.
Seeing
one of my favorites, by the way.
Incredible.
One of my favorites.
Who's that just mean cat that it doesn't matter, even when they do well, they just seem like they're pissed off at the world.
They're always angry.
And it's because that it doesn't matter how much success they have on the field. I mean, Jonathan Allen would be ready to rip some heads off for giving up a touchdown on the last play of the game. Right. And I'm sure nobody's happy about it. Nobody in that locker room is pleased or okay with that.
Right.
But you are lacking the guy that's like, that's just royally pissed off about stuff when they don't perform to a certain standard. And you've seen that Ashawn Robinson with that. I would have been terrified to talk to Ashawn Robinson if I was covering the team back then. But there's guys on offense. Guys on defense, certainly, Reuben Foster was a headhunter. You're lacking those guys that, that who strikes fear. Will Anderson is a heck of one of the best players in Alabama football history, period.
Right.
Don't care what, fans have been
Doesn't
a little
matter.
bit.
Yeah.
But, is he, he's a great guy. You see him off the field and he's like, he's laughing, and granted, he can have that serious, tone, but he also can laugh and cut up and stuff. And I don't know if I ever saw Jonathan Allen smile once during this time in Alabama.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, look, the schedule is so tough, but there's 2 games. I look on the schedule right now, and there's 2 really tough games left: LSU and Ole Miss. And I think LSU is a little bit tougher than Ole Miss. Alabama's going to come in here and they're going to destroy Auburn.
I would, if it was in Jordan Hare.
That. No, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to go to the game, and I'm going to yell the whole time. I hate them, Clint. I mean, I'm sorry, I just do. It goes back to being here. Like I don't want to get too excited about what's going to happen, because by then I'm sure that Brian Harsin will be out of a job and it'll be a total disaster. But it's getting to that game. That's one that you never, no one ever takes them for granted,
Yeah.
But you got to get there.
Isn't it wild? Auburn sure could use a quarterback. That Bo Nix one's pretty good.
Hey.
It's amazing what happens, man.
I'm going to tell you this.
Not living under his family's name shadow, on the plains. He's become a pretty good player out there on the West Coast.
Another big win today, right?
He
Look,
did.
Bo Nix would come on the next round as like the paid, the NIL guest they would have. And I would hear him on there, and he would just talk so much smack, and I loved it. Like, the problem is that, you bring these college players on these NIL deals, and, and they're on all over the country doing interviews, and none of them ever say anything, like they're, talking about where they go fishing, or, like no one ever wants to say anything. He would get on there and just talk.
Oh, yeah.
And I like that, just as this part of me, like the broadcaster, Mick, it's like, hey, man, even though this guy's like for Auburn, at least I appreciate the fact that he's bringing it, man. Like,
well, I mean, he made some sort of comment about, I think
the officiating.
With Alabama.
The Iron Bowl,
and it's like, man, whoa. I don't know what. And here's the thing, though. You saw that, him make that comment, and you're like, man, is Alabama going to make you pay for that? They didn't.
No.
They
almost
now,
won.
Granted, he was hurt, but I'm saying the team, I was hoping for a little bit more of a statement, and I mean just announcing. And they played good football. They played really good football. Don't get me wrong. Right. And I think there's a lot to take away from this. That's a huge positive. But that statement, that saying, hey, we're still Alabama. We're pissed off because people challenged the defense. They challenged Will Anderson. There's so many people, and I said this earlier this week, national media, fans, some local media. And you're sitting there thinking, okay, you've been challenged on a very personal level.
Right.
And when people are asking, where Will Anderson's been, and he played a good football game. Don't get me wrong at all. But I thought that from a collective, you would see a little bit more of hey, we're still the same old Alabama, and I still haven't seen as much of that as probably I would like to.
Yeah. Well, look, let's kind of wrap this up. I've had fun though, and Peanut made my night. Like
That's incredible.
What a the fact that they're still like you're 1-16,
hey,
and you fell into a win, and you think you won by 25 points, but good for you guys.
I'll tell you what, if Alabama gets past Ole Miss in about 3 weeks, obviously got to get past LSU first, but then Ole Miss, if they get to that point, and it's like, okay, it's either Tennessee is representing the East or it's Georgia. But if you're a Tennessee fan, you're hoping. But at that point, the trash talking is going to ramp up more because the thought is at least going to enter some minds. We might only have a couple weeks more of this.
Yeah, right.
So if you're an Alabama fan, expect it. I'm telling you, you would think that there would be some quieting down because it's like, we don't want to talk too much because we'll pay for it in a couple of weeks. No, I think it'll be, hey, we've gone 15 years. It's been a hell of a couple of months.
Yeah, right.
We might need to get a couple more, really ramp it up here and have some fun with it. And so, hey, I would love for that. Could you imagine the week leading up to that game? A rematch. It would be so much fun. I'm praying.
I don't think that. I think that the glass slipper is going to break. They won't have like an eighth year quarterback next year. And it'll be kind of.
They got that Nico guy coming in. We'll see what he does.
It's not going to be Nico. It'd be Joe Milton. The guy.
I think Nico's
with
a
really
day one
strong
starter.
arm, but no one's going to be like Hendon Hooker. I mean,
He's been good, man.
There's not going to be another like. The guy's been around forever. I mean, like, he's got the COVID
25.
year. Yeah, like he's like 26. He's older than like a lot of starters in the NFL. Okay, look, I'd love to see the rematch, but let's just kind of go back to this, like our closing thoughts on today's game. And by the way, thank you for coming on the show last night, man. You missed a good time at Innisfree.
You know what? Every time I went,
Trip makes it fun.
Yeah, he seemed like a fun guy.
He said he doesn't want to be called the CEO of Innisfree, but he is one of the owners.
Look, I left you in a certain place in those first two segments, and I came back.
It's a different guy. I'm sorry. It's just
never apologize.
That was fun. We had a good
Sorry
time.
for partying.
Yeah, well, but look, here's what I'm going to give you my closing thoughts on today's game, and then I want to hear what yours are. First off, Tennessee didn't beat us 2 straight weeks, and we were all disgusted, disgusted by the performance. I was disgusted personally by the officiating. I don't want to get into it anymore, but I've made it clear that I didn't think that officiating. I'm just not satisfied with the officiating from last week. Totally another conversation, but the turnovers. The penalties, the turnovers that this team had, not last week, but, over the course of time, the just everything that went wrong, the drop passes and all that stuff, and to still have a chance, even with the officiating, to win that game and to overcome so many different things. And it comes down to Will Reichard missing a field goal at the end of the game. It's a tough loss. And we even blocked the field goal. I mean, we got a hand on it, and the damn ball still went through the goal. I mean, like, that's 15 years of beating a team, and you saw the replay. Like he hits the ball.
Well, I mean, from my angle, yeah. And somebody said they didn't think Byron Young got through, and I was like, from the angle that I saw it, and it looked too ugly going in.
It hit his fingers, but it went in anyway.
Yeah, it was a duck coming off. I mean, it looked weird.
To come back this week. And the defense played, and I knew they would. I mean, this is a better setup for Alabama. The way that you challenge them is with the deep pass. That Ole Miss really never even tried that today. The short passes didn't work. The defense was great. Jahmyr Gibbs is so good, man. So good. Like,
need to get him more touches, which they have been doing a really good job of that. And I do understand. I think they abandoned it a little bit too much, but
another one from. I got to throw this up here, Clint, before we get out of here. Dino Vine said, saw a couple with matching Tennessee outfits at the mall this weekend. Come on, man. Like for $10. And let me throw it up here one more time. I just want everyone to see the third Saturday in October championship T-shirt one more time. That's real. That's real.
I still don't want to believe
What size do you wear?
Extra small.
Yeah, right. Hey, thank you for the super chat, guys. But look, to come back and to take care of business. Defense was great today. I give them an A+.
I give him a really good grade. I typically I'll go back and watch and just to be sure.
A.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the surface it's definitely going to be in that range.
Yeah.
I mean, the statement wasn't made. It was a good game, but it wasn't the statement I was hoping for. But, and granted, we'll know a lot more about these two things in a couple of weeks because it's a lot tougher to have the positive penalties, be positive in that, show a lot of growth when you're on the road. And they got back-to-back weeks. If they can get through that Ole Miss game and they're a reasonable amount of penalties, I will say that's a huge step in the right direction. Obviously, it's a week after 17 of them last week. I mean, you feel good about how many they had today. They played a lot cleaner football, and this defense is close, man. I'm telling you, they finished positive in the turnover battle. Mississippi State turned it over once. Alabama didn't turn it over at all.
Right. Penalty-wise, we're much better.
Penalties and turnovers. That Nick Saban's been talking about. You need to generate more turnovers. You need to be positive in the turnover margin or the turnover battle. They made improvement in that area, and they came close to getting several more. Kool-Aid almost had the interception that got overturned. There were several they're very close, guys. DeMarco Hellens almost had an interception. Yeah. So if they can start finishing some of these plays, man, it's got the Will Rogers, getting strip sacked, and then they called it his force. Like I said, so many examples.
They were
of them
attacking the quarterback and the line of scrimmage a lot better today than they did last week.
And I thought that Pete Golding did a much better job as far as being more creative with his pressure packages and just where he was sending the pressure. Brian Branch that's the reason. If you want to know why Alabama loves having a Brian Branch style of player at star rather than a corner, they were rocking him off the edge, and he was having a lot of success, putting pressure. So, I think the defense played well. I love the, Eli Ricks. I'm not ready to give up on Terrion Arnold. I still think he's going to be a heck of a player, but there's no denying you put him out there, and he performed extremely well. So give Eli Ricks a ton of credit, and we'll see where Alabama goes from here as far as, other personnel changes or whatever.
Yeah, look, I agree. All right, what do you got going on this week? It's an off week, by the way. Like, when I pack this up, it's off. Like, we don't have a game on Saturday. I need this.
Reflection.
I'm ready.
It's reflection the first part of the week. Going to be looking back, more of a bird's eye view on things, kind of seeing who's been performing well, who needs to step up, some changes that might be, need to be made. Going to go back through and watch all of their games. It's going to be a fun week, but then about around midweek, it's going to be looking, and really probably, I would say towards the end of this week, we'll really start putting a huge focus on where Alabama needs to improve moving forward. Right. And some things that they maybe can do and all that stuff. So it's going to be a fun week. I can't wait, but a lot going on. It was a good victory tonight.
Yeah, lick their wounds, kind of relax, and then start gearing up towards that battle in Baton Rouge. And it's going to come down to, like, who would have thought LSU, like, after the way they started and the way that Tennessee blew them out, that they're in the mix. They're right there. Look, they beat Alabama, and they're the team to beat.
Tennessee slaughtered LSU at LSU. Early game, different environment. I get it. But they slaughtered them because LSU's offensive line was so depleted, and it already hasn't been very good this year. Mm-hmm. Tennessee's front's decent. It's not Alabama's front. Right. I would expect, and there's a lot of time between now and then, but a little preview for anybody that's listening. More than likely, I'm going to pick Alabama to win pretty sizable against
Really?
Unless, if they don't, it'll be because of, penalties and shooting yourself in the foot and not playing well on the road.
All the stuff that we saw. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, on
penalties.
paper, when you see Tennessee's front do that to LSU's offensive line, I don't even care if they're healthy. That offensive line's not great, and I think, a couple of weeks they'll dial up some more, stuff like they did with Dallas Turner, which we had heard about this package that they used tonight in the offseason, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess right now we should still be in reflection mode. I'm just the guy that's like, let's look forward.
You're looking ahead right now. You're looking ahead. Look, I'm looking forward to not having a game next week.
Man, I don't even know.
But I'm going to miss all you guys in the comment section and you, Clint, and Chris. I'm sure we'll get together and do some shows.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we'll keep going. But what do you got going on the site?
First of all, great conversation on the message board, the Talk of Champions message boards, the game day thread. A lot of participation, a lot of takes. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more into reflective mode based off of this performance.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just like the people that are on here, and they're kind of annoyed or upset, or it's not the kind of performance it's a good. Here's the problem.
It's all right.
It's all right. Yeah. You hate to be complaining about 30-7, but I think that's the Alabama standard. I think they need to be upset with 30-6.
Yeah.
They can kick that extra point. They need to be upset with it because I think it could have been a lot better.
Should have been.
Yeah. So
could have been 40-6, 50-6.
I think that Mississippi State's offense against Alabama's defense, they've got their number, match up extremely well. So the offense is really where it. Last week it was the defense, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was hating on the defense, and then this week it's like defense is great, offense.
I know. Isn't that just the way it goes? Make sure you guys join the Bama Insider. Join Bama Insider right now. On 3, you can get a membership for an entire year for $10. You get the message board with Clint, his team coverage. Jimmy Stein's on there on the message board all the time, doing all the talking. Andrew Bone, who I, by the way, did swing by Innisfree yesterday. I saw him at Innisfree. His recruiting with Joseph Hastings, and we're only getting bigger and better. I mean, I'm just telling you right now that there's a new world order of Alabama team coverage, and you're part of it. So make sure that you guys take advantage of it. I promise you, you're not going to be disappointed. $10 for a year. $1 for 4 months if you just want to dip your toe in the water and check it out. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Bama Insider YouTube channel. Man, we're going to be at 80,000 subscribers, like maybe today. I mean, who knows? Like we're right there, and it's because of you guys. You guys have been such a big part of everything that we've accomplished here, and we can't thank you enough. Hit the thumbs up. That's a great way of saying Roll Tide. The bell's going to let you know when we're live. Ran into people today. Out on the quad, at Innisfree, you guys come by and you say, "Hey, man, I watch the shows and I really like them, and we want to talk about Alabama." And that's what this is all about. I mean, just guys that like Alabama, like talking football, and love the calls that you guys bring to the show and the comments in the comment section. So appreciate it so much. And then lastly, and not leastly, but lastly, Westgate Luxury Condominiums, man, Alice, Maxwell, and everyone here just making it like a fun environment. Like we're on the roof right now. We're looking at Bryant-Denny. WestgateAL.com, whether you're looking to buy a unit or you just want to rent when you're coming to town, this is the spot, man. I mean, the parking's great. This area right here is like the zone, right? But it's the best place to tailgate. You got the 1 to 5 bedroom units. You're talking about the just amazing kitchens, the oversized balconies. Find out for yourself at westgateal.com. All right. Anything else, Clint Lamb, before I wrap it up?
Just appreciate you having me on once again. Appreciate everybody. Dude, the callers are phenomenal, man.
Great. Except Peanut.
Peanut was my favorite. What are you talking about?
Peanut was great, right?
Peanut just added a whole extra layer to this. I hope we get a couple more peanuts. Get some people riled up.
Peanut was like 10 last time Alabama beat Tennessee beat Alabama, and now this is his time to, like, all those years of crying, going to bed angry, punching the television. Peanut's television broke a few times, in 2009 when Cody blocked the kick, and then there was the Josh Dobbs game here. Finally got his chance to talk a little smack. Probably broke it. He'll break it again, or he broke it again. So look, to Peanut and all you guys out there, man, Roll Tide, thanks for hanging out with us. That does it for our show from Westgate Luxury Condominiums. For Clint Lamb and Chris Daughtry and Kyle Henderson and our entire crew, I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for hanging out, man. Thank you guys for the super chats. 30-6, the final. We just did basically 2 hours straight with no commercials, but it's because we love you guys. Roll Tide.